Today's topic is kind of emotional, so we don't have funny stories tonight and jokes and stuff. But tonight's talk is kind of serious. But this is needed, inshallah. So I'm going to talk to the youth tonight, inshallah. A few days ago, I was giving a talk at one of the masajid. They had a fiqh conference, so they invited me to speak. So after the talk, this brother, your age, 20 years old, he came to me and he said he's doing drugs. And it is difficult for him to quit. And he doesn't know if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will accept his fasting or his salah or not. Of course, I hugged him. And I told him when I was young, I made mistakes. I didn't do drugs, but I was doing some bad things as well. So all of us are human beings and we make mistakes. But the thing is, Ramadan is a good time to start a new page with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Allah will help you. If you cannot smoke for 17, 18 hours during the day, it means one thing to me. That if you have the determination, the commitment, you will quit smoking by the end of the month. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given you a proof because you didn't do it during the day. And if you are able to pray 5 times a day in Ramadan, you stand at night in salah, if you can fast in Ramadan, it means one thing to me, that you are able to do it after the month. And I gave him some examples that I'm going to share with you in the 5 minutes I had with him. And I reminded him of this ayah from Surah Hashr, ayah number 18, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, almost everyone here knows the ayah, يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله ولتنظر نفس ما قدمت لغد واتقوا الله. O who believe, O you who believe, be mindful of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and let every soul look at what deeds it has set forth for tomorrow, means the day of judgment. So if you keep the day of judgment in your mind, you know that one day, sooner or later, you're going to stand before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for judgment. So it's up to you either to quit here, and when you go there, your board is clean, or if you insist on doing what is haram, then you have to prepare some good answers. We know that life is very short, and I don't have to remind you all the time. If you don't know the story of Brother Burhan, he was a student at the Main Gate Academy, 12 years old, in 6th grade. So about a month before Ramadan, he was on a trip with his family and he died. He had no medical conditions. 12 years old, nothing. So this is a warning to each and every one of us that you don't have to be 95 years old. Yeah, someone say, oh, my father was 95. Well, there's no guarantee that you are going to live 95. Come on, wake up, right? And you have to keep this in mind all the time. Even if you live 200 years, so what? Eventually you will leave. You say in Urdu, Zindagi bahut mukhtasar hai, right? Those who are Turkish, hayat shu qisar, right? I know there are some Somalis here. I don't want to make them mad. Nolosh shuwar tahay, right? Life is very short. So if you live 10 years or 200 years, eventually you will leave this world. So what do you need to do tonight? Number one, you have to keep in your mind that this is a new page for you, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving you another chance to repent. There are some people in our community who were here last year. I didn't see them because I was not here, but they are not with us anymore. And next year, who knows, maybe next Ramadan, some of us will not be here. So whether I will die, you will die, the sister in the back will die, who knows, right? So you have to keep this in your mind. Maybe this is your last Ramadan. Maybe this is going to be your last Taraweeh. So wake up, right? We are not here to stay in this world. We are musafir, as the Prophet ﷺ says. Whether you stay for a long time or a short time, eventually we will leave. So you have to look at 2 things to check whether you are doing the right thing or the wrong thing. Your relationship with Allah and your relationship with the people. This is what Islam is all about. Inna الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا, they have faith in Allah, وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ, they are good to the people and they do good things. This is what Islam is all about. Ibadat, your relationship with Allah, mu'amalat, your relationship with the people. So in regards to your relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, salah is the most important thing. I cannot emphasize how important salah is. So don't tell me you are 35 or 40 and you don't pray, or you delay salah. Because the Prophet ﷺ says on the day of judgment, if your salah is messed up, you have no chances, you will be in big trouble. And if your salah is accepted, everything else is a piece of cake. So don't delay your salah. Don't delay your salah. I remember I was in Edmonton for a couple of years. Then there was a brother, 17 years old, healthy. So his mother used to tell him, go to the masjid and make salah. He always said, tomorrow, tomorrow. Go for Jum'ah with the imam. He said, next week. Go to the masjid in Taraweeh. He said, next year. So subhanAllah, that next day, that next week, that next month never came. So eventually he came to the masjid for salah, not to pray, but people to offer janazah for him. He was involved into an accident and he died at the age of 17, and he never made a sajda for Allah, right? And his friend told me, I didn't know the brother, so his friend told me. And he told me the whole story, and I felt sorry for him. In another case, one brother called me. He said, I want to pay money for not fasting in Ramadan. So I said, okay, this is kafara, because I normally ask people what condition they have, because I want to see if they're doing the right thing or no. Maybe they're not fasting because of a reason that does not require kafara. So I said, okay, that was over the phone. Are you sick? He said, no. I said, okay, are you musafir? He said, no. Are you old? No, 25 years old. And I gave him all the different options for not fasting in the month of Ramadan. And I told him everything. No, 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 no. And I told him, man, the only thing left in my list is pregnancy. What is your problem? He said, well, I'm 25 years old, but when I was young, my parents were not practicing. They never told me how to make salah. They never taught me how to fast in Ramadan. And now I can't fast. I don't know. I just want to give them money. And I told him, no, you have to try to learn to fast. If you feed, you are young and healthy, Allah will not accept from you. And this is based on a hadith. You have to try to fast. You can't just go and feed people for not fasting. The stories go on and on and on. So I got only 2 minutes to go, inshallah. Your relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is very important. The salah, the fasting. If you are rich, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given you money, you didn't do your hajj, or you don't give zakah, you need to think about it. We're not taking anything with us, right? Now your relationship with the people, and we'll start with your parents. I know stories. I do counseling, and parents come to me and they tell me that their kids talk back to them. They talk back to them, oh, whatever, I hate you, right? Because they wanted them to buy something like a laptop or whatever, and the father, subhanAllah, is doing 2 or 3 jobs, he's trying to pay the bills and the rent and shopping and all these things. And if they don't buy them the stuff they want, I hate you. I'm miserable in this world because of you. You don't make me happy. Come on, man, come on. So you don't talk to your parents like this. Wallahi, no one loves you in this world more than your parents. And there is a reason why every time Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about Tawheed in the Quran, He talks about the parents right after. وَقَضَى رَبُّكَ أَلَّا تَعْبُدُوا إِلَّا إِيَّاهُ وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا. So He always talks about the fact that He created you, worship Him alone, and you have to honor your parents and you have to be good to them. Talking back to them is not nice. Telling them you hate them is not nice. So we have to respect our parents. And inshallah, I'm running out of time, but we'll continue tomorrow, inshallah, your relationship with Allah and your relationship with the people, starting with your parents. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help us become good Muslims in this month. Ameen, ameen. The question for last night was, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives wahi to prophets in the Quran, but there is one woman in the Quran that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave her wahi, and this lady is the mother of Musa. وَأَوْحَيْنَا إِلَىٰ أُمِّ مُوسَى. The word wahi in the Quran comes in 2 meanings. One of them to give revelation, like وَأُوحِيَ إِلَىٰ نُوحٍ وَأَوْحَيْنَا إِلَىٰ مُوسَى. We gave revelation like Quran to Muhammad ﷺ or Musa and the other prophets, revelation from Allah. And the word wahi comes in the meaning of inspired, to do something. Whether we're talking about human beings or birds or animals and so on and so forth. وَأَوْحَيْنَا إِلَىٰ أُمِّ مُوسَى. We inspired Musa to nurse a baby. وَأَوْحَى رَبُّكَ إِلَى النَّحْلِ. Your Lord inspired the bees how to build their hives and so on and so forth. And the winner is Al-Hajj Muhammad Al-Bizri. Yes, mashallah. Barakallah feek. Takbir.
Allahu Akbar.
Someone pass it. Jazakallah khairan Hajji. We're doing a lot of research. Barakallah feek. So tonight's question is easy, inshallah. There are so many men mentioned in the Quran, especially prophets. There's only one woman mentioned by name in the Quran. If you know her name, email me inshallah by tomorrow at Mustafa at anatoliacenter.ca. Jazakumullah khair.